I woke up to the sound of a heart monitor and a stranger's voice saying, She's opening her eyes." My throat was raw, my right hand wrapped in bandages, and for 3 full seconds I had no idea who I was. Then the memories hit me like a second fire. The smoke, the neighbor's window, my daughter Lily's stuffed rabbit, clutched against my chest as I carried a screaming toddler down a collapsing staircase. "Where's my daughter?" My voice came out broken. The nurse's smile faltered. "Mrs. Bennet, you've been unconscious for 6 weeks." 6 weeks. I gripped the bed rail, my head spinning. "Lily, where is Lily?" The nurse hesitated in a way that made my stomach drop before she even spoke. "Your family has been informed you're awake. Someone will be here soon. Not your husband. Not your daughter. Someone." I'd been divorced 8 months, living alone with Lily in Charlotte, North Carolina, when the Whitfield house next door caught fire at 2 a.m. Their 6-year-old son, Caleb, was trapped upstairs. I didn't think. I just ran. I remembered heat, smoke thick as tar, a beam falling. After that, nothing. 20 minutes later, my sister Renee walked in, and one look at her face told me something was wrong, far beyond my injuries. "Where's my daughter, Renee?" She sat down slowly, avoiding my eyes. "Claire, I need you to stay calm." "Where is she?" "She's with Megan." The name landed like a slap. Megan Harlow. My best friend since college. The woman I'd called during my divorce at 3 a.m. The woman who held my hand at Lily's christening. Why would Lily be with Megan and not you? Renee's hands were shaking. "Megan showed up at the hospital 4 weeks ago with a custody letter. She said you'd signed it before the fire, naming her legal guardian in case anything happened to you. The hospital verified your signature. She took Lily home that same day." I stared at her, my bandaged hand trembling. I never signed anything. Renee's face went pale. "Claire." The signature matched. I hadn't signed a single paper in my life that I didn't remember. And somewhere out there, my daughter was calling another woman Mom. 3 days later, I was discharged in a wheelchair with a lawyer's number in my pocket, and no idea how to breathe normally again. Renee drove me straight to Megan's house. I needed to see Lily's face, even through a window if that's all I got. Megan opened the door holding a mug of coffee like it was any ordinary morning. "Claire, you're up already." "Where's my daughter?" "She's napping." Megan's voice was calm, rehearsed. Too calm. "Claire, I know this is confusing, but you asked me to do this. You made me promise, remember? After your divorce, you said if anything ever happened to you, you didn't trust Ryan to raise her right." My ex-husband's name felt like static in my ears. "I never said that to you. You were under a lot of stress." "Megan, I did not sign a custody letter." I gripped the doorframe. "Let me see her." She hesitated, then stepped aside just enough for me to see past her shoulder. And there, at the bottom of the staircase, stood Lily, my Lily, 4 years old, hair longer than I remembered, wearing pajamas I'd never bought her. "Mommy!" She ran toward me, and for 1 perfect second nothing else mattered. Megan's hand shot out and caught her by the shoulder. "Sweetie, remember what we talked about? Claire's still healing. We don't want to hurt her." Lily froze mid-step, confused, looking between us like she'd been taught something she didn't understand. "Get your hands off my daughter." My voice cracked with a fury I didn't know I still had in me. "I have legal paperwork." "Claire!" Megan's smile didn't reach her eyes anymore. "The hospital notarized it. The court already granted temporary guardianship. If you fight this, you'll only confuse her more." I looked at Lily's small, uncertain face, and something in me went cold and sharp. Whatever Megan thought she'd gotten away with, she'd made one mistake. She didn't know I'd been a paralegal for 6 years before Lily was born. And she didn't know that the day of the fire, I'd left my laptop logged into my cloud drive with every document I'd ever signed backed up with timestamps. Somewhere in that backup was proof that no custody letter had ever existed in my hand. Renee helped me back into the car, but I couldn't stop shaking. "Take me to Marcus Reed's office," I said. He was the only family lawyer I trusted, a man who'd helped a co-worker through a brutal custody battle 2 years earlier. Marcus listened without interrupting as I explained everything. The fire, the coma, the letter, Megan's calm, rehearsed lies. When I finished, he leaned back. "Claire, if you truly never signed this, we can fight it. But notarized documents carry weight. We need hard proof, fast." That night, from Renee's guest room, I logged into my old cloud backup with hands that still trembled from nerve damage. File after file loaded, tax documents, Lily's medical records, my divorce papers. Nothing resembling a custody letter. I'd never even owned a document like that. Then I found something else. A folder I didn't recognize, shared with my account 3 months before the fire. Inside were drafts, practice signatures, my name, written over and over in slightly different handwriting, like someone had been training themselves to forge it. The account that shared the folder belonged to an email I didn't recognize at first. Then I saw the recovery phone number listed beside it, and my stomach turned to ice. It was Megan's number. She hadn't just taken advantage of a tragedy. She had been planning this before the fire ever happened. I called Marcus immediately, my voice shaking so hard I could barely get the words out. He was quiet for a long moment. Claire, if this folder has metadata proving when these were created, this isn't just fraud anymore. This is premeditated. Did Megan know about the Whitfield fire in advance? The question hit me like ice water. Caleb Whitfield's parents, the family whose son I'd pulled from that burning house, were Megan's cousins. I sat frozen, staring at the screen, piecing together a timeline that made my skin crawl. Megan hadn't just seen an opportunity in my accident. She had known exactly which house was going to catch fire that night, weeks before it happened. I didn't sleep that night. By morning, Marcus had already filed an emergency, motion for a forensic, review of the custody letter, and subpoenaed the metadata from that shared folder. 3 days later, he called me into his office, his expression unusually grim. The signature practice files were created 11 weeks before the fire, he said. And Claire, the fire marshal's original. Report on the Whitfield. House was reopened yesterday. Faulty wiring wasn't the only thing they found. There was accelerant residue near a rear window. The room tilted. Are you saying it was arson? I'm saying the case just became a criminal investigation, not just a custody dispute. I thought of Caleb's mother, Diane, hugging me in the hospital hallway weeks ago, thanking me through tears for saving her son. She had no idea her own. Family might be connected to why that fire started in the first place. Marcus slid a printed email across the desk. It was between Megan and someone named Patrick Wexler, a name I didn't recognize until. I saw the signature line, Whitfield Family Estate Attorney. The messages were vague on the surface, but one line made my blood run cold. Once the situation resolves itself, the settlement will be split as discussed. Insurance money, a house fire, a trapped child I nearly died saving. And somewhere in the middle, my daughter had become collateral damage in a scheme I still didn't fully understand. There's one more thing, Marcus said quietly. Diane Whitfield called my office an hour ago. She wants to meet you, alone. I met her that evening at a small diner outside town. Diane looked like she hadn't slept in days. She slid a folded piece of paper across the table before I even sat down. I found this in Caleb's father's study, she whispered. I think it explains why Megan really wanted your daughter out of the picture. My hands shook as I unfolded it. It was a copy of my original will, the real one filed 2 years earlier, naming Megan as Lily's godmother, not her guardian. But at the bottom, in someone else's handwriting, was a single chilling note. If Claire doesn't survive, this needs to disappear before anyone reads the actual guardian clause. Someone had known, long before the fire, that if I died, my daughter's real name guardian would inherit far more than custody. The real guardian clause, it turned out, named my father, Lily's only surviving grandparent, as legal guardian, with a trust fund from my late mother's estate that Megan had discovered months earlier while helping me organize paperwork after my divorce. Megan hadn't wanted my daughter. She'd wanted access to that trust, and a custody letter was the fastest way to control it. Marcus moved quickly. Within a week, the forensic handwriting analysis confirmed the signature on Megan's. Custody letter didn't match mine. Down to pressure points, a real signature. Could never fake. The subpoenaed emails between Megan and Patrick Wexler revealed the full scheme. Megan had learned about the Whitfield's insurance troubles, offered to help, resolve things quietly, and used the resulting fire and my hospitalization as cover to seize guardianship before anyone read my mother's actual will. The court hearing lasted less than 2 hours. When the judge read the forensic report aloud, Megan's composure finally cracked. She looked at me from across the room, mouthing the words, I never meant to hurt Lily. I didn't respond. There was nothing left to say to a woman who'd stood beside me at my daughter's christening, while planning how to steal her. Custody was restored to me immediately. Megan was charged with forgery, fraud, and conspiracy. The investigation into the fire implicated both her and Patrick Wexler in insurance fraud, with an arson charge still pending. Diane Whitfield, devastated but honest, testified against her own late husband's business partner to make it right. The day I brought Lily home, She ran straight into my arms the moment I opened the car door. No hesitation this time, no confused glance over her shoulder. She pressed her small hand against the scar on my palm, the one from the night. I pulled Caleb from that fires and whispered, "Does it still hurt, Mommy?" "Not anymore, baby," I said, holding her tighter than I ever had. "Not anymore. Some people talk about revenge like it's supposed to feel like fire. Mine felt like silence, the quiet, steady sound of my daughter breathing against my shoulder. Safe, home, and finally entirely mine again."